Hi everyone, Raj1 welcoming you to the first in our series of offerings intended to benefit our community of rideshare drivers, many of whom, perhaps like myself, often struggle with the effects of long-term sitting and driving. We're going to get right to our level 1 introduction in a moment, but first, 2 important items. First up, I am not a physician, so my offerings here are not intended to be actual medical advice. Rather, I'm looking to benefit my many friends in the rideshare community by sharing with you how I approach neutralizing the stagnation that comes with long-term sitting and driving by applying my considerable yoga education and decades of actual teaching experience. And second, I need to dispel a little misconception about yoga. It's understandable that when people first approach yoga, it seems to be all about stretching and limberness. Sure, an aspect of yoga culture is about stretching and limberness, but not entirely. Yoga is about balance, and our regime here is an offering of light stretching and light strengthening exercises meant to alleviate the stagnation from long-term sitting and driving. So let's go ahead and get underway. When I first pull up and get out of the car, I set my phone aside and leave the app open so that I'm available for a ride hail. And I start shaking it out a bit and just limbering up a little bit. We're in no hurry. I'm looking around my environment, wherever it is I've pulled over, whether it's in a parking garage or parking lot, maybe it's on a side street in a residential area or a nice park. And I just start a little light breathing and shake it out a little bit, get a sense of my environment, make sure it's safe to be here. And when I'm ready to get started, I put my hands on my hips, and this is good for most folks because it's supportive. And I start doing a little light swiveling exercise, a little slight swiveling motion, pivoting at the hips. And each time I go around, I increase the range of motion a little. That is, I increase the circle somewhat. And again, we're in no hurry here. Probably no one's paying attention or has any idea what we're up to and could care less. So we're going to keep this through a dozen or so of each of these little engagements, a dozen or so reps. And this time when we come around, and just stay within your capacity, we're going to pause here, and you can put your hands on your knees if you like for a little support, or you can just relax it. Let your head and neck and arms relax, and a light stretch down the back of the legs. You can swivel your head a little bit. And when we come up, a light stretching of the back, a light extension of the spine, a light arch there. Just relax with that for a moment, and then I like to swivel from side to side. You can feel different muscle groups being engaged there. This is a nice variation. And come on down. And just relax, shake it out a bit. You can swivel your head around a little bit, stretch your neck out, good stuff. Next up, I'm going to engage an exercise that's more strengthening oriented, but it's a simple one. It's just light squats. An exercise everyone has probably seen before. This is a light strengthening exercise. I happen to really like this one. When I'm on my own, I'll do 30 or 40 or 50 of these. Today, we're just going to keep it to a dozen or so. And again, with your arms, with your hands at your hips, you can come up at the end, a light stretching, a light arching of the back. Again, stay within your own range capacity. We're not trying to prove anything here. And swivel from side to side. You can feel the different muscle groups that are engaged in different ways all the way down the back and legs. And after a moment, come down. And again, I'm going to shake it out a bit. You can swivel your head a little bit. Include your shoulders in that. Good stuff. Yoga does use props, and I use the car a little. For example, you can do this with your tires, or you can put your feet on your bumper If that's agreeable, you can put your hands here on your thighs for a little support, and we're going to do a little light stretching down the back of the legs. This is good stuff here. I really like this. And then swivel slightly from side to side. You can feel different muscle groups are being engaged in this. Down the back, the hips, down the legs. Good stuff. And switch feet. Go to the other leg. Again, you can support yourself, putting your hands on your thigh. And again, we're not trying to prove anything here. We're just staying within our own capacity. Whatever feels good for you. A light swiveling from side to side. I really like this one. Good. We're going to go to an exercise that is something I'm really fond of, given that the number one complaint in doctors' offices is lower back pain. Lower back pain. So how I engage this one is I relax for a moment, allow your arms and hands to dangle. You can swivel your head a little bit, and when I come up, you can put your hands on your hips if you like. I sometimes cross my arms and hands over my chest. It's just lower back thrusts. It couldn't be simpler, but this is so helpful to the lower back. And again, I'll do 30 or 40 or 50 of these on my own. You just stay within your own capacity, but for today we're just going to do a dozen or so. You can make them longer or shorter as you like, depending on how aggressive you want to be. I recommend being easygoing here, especially in the beginning. Again, we're going to reach up and stretch the back and arch the back a little. A light swivel from side to side. And we're always paying attention what the effects are for us on the body. And again, come down. Shake it out a bit. Shake out your shoulders, your neck and your head. Wonderful. Good stuff. And finally, we're going to engage something that's a little more yoga traditional. And again, we're going to part with the arms and hands part of it because we're not going to, that's another level of difficulty, a level 2 engagement. We're going to keep it for then. But the well-known warrior's pose, and you can just put your hands on your hips again. I sometimes will just fold my arms and hands over my chest. But if you need the support, by all means, put your hands on your hips, and you can feel the lower core here. The lower back, the hips, the legs. Switch it. Your spine is generally upright. It's good stuff. I really like this. Okay, come up. Shake it out a little bit. And ping, ping, I have a ride. I'm off to serve our community of customers and make some money. So good of you to stop by. Hope to see you again soon. In the meantime, drive smart, stay true.